Welcome to the Coachzing Show, helping you work less, earn more, and reach more people through creative content marketing. Join the Coach Zingers community, where the world's best coaches, therapists, authors, and speakers come together to discover the latest trends, forge powerful joint ventures, and grow their business together. Go to coachzing.com/community to join. And now, here's your host, Doug Foresta.
Hello and welcome back to the Coachzing Show. This is your host, Doug Foresta. This is a show we help you, coaches, therapists, speakers, and authors to work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. And my guest today is someone that I've known for many, many years, and yet I've never actually spoken to her before. So I'm very excited. She's personally helped me a lot in my own business. Joan Sotkin is my guest. I'll say a little bit about her and bring her right on. Joan Sotkin is the expert when it comes to understanding how emotions learned in early childhood can affect a person's earning capacity as an adult. For over 25 years, she's helped entrepreneurs and practitioners experience freedom from struggle personally, professionally, and financially. Thousands have benefited from Joan's groundbreaking book, Build Your Money Muscles, 9 Simple Exercises for Improving Your Relationship with Money, and her ongoing support programs. She's a dynamic, inspiring speaker and coach who brings a depth of knowledge plus a huge dose of empathy and compassion to her work, and dare I say humor as well. And you can learn more about her at prosperityplace.com. That's prosperityplace.com, and we'll put that link on the show page. Joan Sotkin, welcome to the Coachzing Show.
It's a pleasure to be here, and dare you say humor? Absolutely. If we take ourselves too seriously, we're in big trouble.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, let's start with, I want to start with the question about what your favorite content marketing strategy is, but then I want to segue into talking about something that I know a lot of people listening to this struggle with, which is how to make money and how to be sustainable as an entrepreneur. So let me just start with the question of, what is your favorite way, as you were building up your own business, what was your favorite way or most effective way of getting the word out about what you do?
Well, first of all, I started building the business online in 1995.
Oh my gosh.
So things have changed a little bit.
Definitely.
And for now, my favorite thing is podcasting, certainly for building up my coaching practice. And for other things, I can use other means, but podcasting to me, and not only doing my own podcast, but going as a guest on other people's podcasts.
Right.
The idea, I have a way of looking at things that's a little offbeat and not the traditional money thing. And so I have to share what I know with people as much as I can, just to help them understand where I'm coming from. And podcasting is the perfect opportunity for that.
Yeah, and you have I think people can hear in your voice, and they can hear when you speak, they can hear the passion, and they can hear you have a very unique point of view. So that would make sense to me. And I would love to have you share with our audience, one of the things that I see so much, and we were talking about this a little bit before we started the show, is that many solopreneurs, and which would include coaches, speakers, authors, really struggle to make a living. And I'm curious about, what do you see as the biggest mistakes that coaches, speakers, authors make when they try to get out and start a business?
Well, the biggest mistake is they don't realize they're in business, that they want to do what they love, and they think that's enough. Whereas no matter what size your business is or what your business is, you have to understand principles of business. And most importantly, you have to understand how to manage money. Because the purpose of your business, aside from doing work and saving the world, is to make money. And if you don't understand the world of money, you're going to have a hard time making it or sustaining it. But secondly, the other mistake is not understanding that your business or practice is an extension of you. And whatever goes on inside of you affects your business. And if, like 90% of the population, you were brought up in a home where they hadn't read the manual, then you're going to have some problems. If there was any kind of abuse or neglect or alcoholism, or they didn't pay attention to you, whatever it was, those issues are going to affect your ability to make money. And if you don't deal with them, then you're not going to make it.
Can you say more about that? So can you say more about, how would, if somebody, grows up in an environment that's less than ideal, how does that impact your ability to make money?
Well, first of all, I strongly suggest the book Childhood Disrupted, How Your Biography Affects Your Biology. And in that book, she has case history after case history of people who were brought up in difficult difficult positions and how it affected their life. And in that book is something called the ACE test. You can also find that online. And there's 10 questions. And if you get even a score of 1 on that, it shows that you've been affected by these family of origin issues. And how does it affect your ability to make money? Well, first of all, here's a secret. Whatever you think your money problems are, they're never about money. It's always about something else that's going on inside of you. For example, most people, when I say, what do you think the problem is? They say, well, I have a low self-image. And that's it. It's also a very good excuse. So the question is, if you think it's your low self-image, I can teach you everything I know about managing money. But if you don't deal with your relationship with yourself and the world around you, nothing's going to change. And then the hardest thing is, if you've been in this needy place for all of your life and you want to make money, well, how do you get out of that needy place? Because people can smell neediness a mile away. And if you're coming from this needy place, it's going to be very hard to sell your services. So I think you have to start by working on you and making sure you're in the right place before you can get your business going.
One of the things I know that you said as well, Joan, was that there are a lot of coaches who sign up for these sometimes enormously expensive programs about how to enroll high-level clients. And
right.
One of the things that you were saying, I'd love for you to share with the audience, is about it. You know what? It's not enough to read a book or take a program about how to enroll high-level clients. They said, like, one of the problems is people don't understand. They may not have even interacted with a high-level client, correct?
Right. I was very lucky. I've had friends all along the way who were trust fund babies. So I know that people who have money are no less troubled than people without money. I have 2 very successful brothers, and I've become successful, although it took me a whole lot longer because I was the one in the family that everybody had to rescue all the time. I spent a lot of time at Codependence Anonymous trying to figure out what the heck was going on. And that's really at the core is this codependency. So when you're working with high-end clients, if you're not comfortable with them aside from their money, then you're not going to be able to sell to them. Because people who have money are on guard all the time because everybody is trying to sell them something. That everybody's got their hand out. I know as I started moving up the ladder and making more money, suddenly every charity in the world is sending
right.
me a pitch to give them money. And if you give one money, they all come after you for money. So the reason why wealthy people live in gated communities is because they want to be left alone. And they feel separate because people treat the 1% as if they're evil, nasty, miserable. And a lot of people who want to market to high-end clients, just they don't see them as people. They see them as people with money.
Right.
And for me, I studied a lot of stuff about the mindset of people with money. For example, there's a book called The Golden Ghetto. It's you can still get it, even though I think it's out of print, which is about people with money and all their problems. Trust fund babies particularly, they really have problems. And there's an organization called the Inheritance Project that talks about the problems that inheritors have. I mean, people without money have this very, very crazy idea that people with money are happy, healthy, and
right.
and comfortable. And the question became in my mind, what's going on with them that they have to have so much money? And I call it, what I've learned along the way is that under-earning and money hoarding both have to do with touch deprivation. When you haven't been touched enough as a kid, you need more. And if you have longing, if you long for more money and long to be with rich people, and that longing is your problem. And all the longing in the world is not going to satisfy it. You have to be comfortable with yourself, particularly if you're going to work with high-end clients. You have to perceive yourself on a deep level that you are their equal. And you are, but you may be, it's like when you walk into a bank and your 2-year-old comes out, and you think that they've got all the power, and you kind of become a blithering idiot, because, I'm just here because I need a load. Or,
right.
You don't realize that they're in the money business. They're trying to sell you money. Right. And people just don't know how to behave with that. And so if you think you want to market to high-end clients, you better have some friends who are high-end so you know what they're thinking.
Joan, what about I'd love to hear your answer about this one, because I've heard some really funny, and I'm familiar with your work because I've been in your community for some time. And what would you say to the people who say, well, I watched The Secret, I read the book, and, I'm okay, Joan, because I'm going to be manifesting. I'm going to sit in my room and I'm going to manifest money. What would you say to those people?
Okay. The clue to me that people are not in the right place is that when they use the word manifesting or abundance. Rich people don't use those words.
Right.
They just live it, right?
Right.
And the secret has, and the law of attraction has some very good principles, but it's not that easy, because you can change your thoughts, but to sustain the new thoughts is not that easy. And to me, it's not about the thoughts. I focus on emotions, because the question for me is how come so many bright, creative people can't make a living? Mm-hmm. They have great ideas and they can't make a living. And that was particularly in my face when I moved to Santa Fe, where New Mexico is a very low-income state, and the people in Santa Fe with great healers and everything, they can't make a living. And I realized that they so often come from families where they were the black sheep of the family and they never felt supported. And they're just acting that out through their business or their so-called business, since most of them really don't realize that they're actually in business.
I think what you're saying is so important. And just to clarify too, beating up on The Secret, I've had Joe Vitale on the show before, and he's talked about before, he said, if you think that, he said, I'm not saying that you just can sit there and think and manifest. He's like, I work really hard in my business and I don't just sit there and manifest. So I think people took The Secret and used it as a way to avoid. Yes. Right. There is so much fantasy thinking among the so-called spiritual community. Right.
They have created a language of their own because they feel separate to begin with. I mean, so many people who are in the healing community, in the coaching community, any kind of stuff like that, they have aloneness issues. And so what they've done is I think I have credentials in the spiritual community. I had a crystal business. I was the first one to market crystals and minerals for healing and meditation nationwide. I had a line of stones called Joan Stones in 600 stores. I gave away everything I owned and wandered for years. So I think I have credibility in that area. But there is so much fantasy thinking in that new age arena where you can just wish for it and it's going to come. But if you're wishing for it and you feel needy, you're going to be needy.
I think that's a very good point. Also, the credential thing I was thinking about is also the people who endlessly go back and, I'm Doug Foresta, CSFP, SCC.
When people ask me what my credentials are, which they rarely ask, but if someone says, what are your credentials? I say I was really screwed up and now I'm fine.
That's right.
And that is better than any degree I could have gotten.
What about, so you talked about emotions and neediness. And I mean, money, obviously there's a lot of emotions that people have around money. What do you think is the reason that money is such an emotional experience for people?
Because remember, I said it's never about money.
Yeah.
It's about relationships.
Yeah.
Money is an energy that passes between two people or entities. And how you deal with money is how you deal with your relationship with yourself and others. money is neutral. It's just, particularly dealing with money is basically dealing with numbers.
Yeah.
So people say, well, I'm not very good with numbers. And I say, you don't have to be. You just have to be good with data entry. Because with all the software we have today, you don't even have to know how to count. You just have to put the information in the software. But people bring their emotions to their money. For example, when you think about bills you have to pay, or you look at your bank balance, or avoid looking at your bank balance,
Right.
that's usually because of shame. Now, the money is not asking you to be ashamed. The money by itself isn't causing shame. You're bringing shame to the money. And if you don't deal with the shame, you're always going to be ashamed. I know people who make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and they're still ashamed of their financial position because that shame comes from their childhood. I think money is a great way to get to know yourself because it stimulates so many emotions. And even if you haven't got an emotional vocabulary yet, you can recognize when it makes you feel contracted. You can say to yourself, when did I feel this before? And you can go through a healing process. But if you're not willing to look at your emotions, which is the main problem with so many people, even if they know it's their emotions, they're afraid to feel their feelings. And until you get over that fear, you can't really, even particularly for coaches, if you don't deal with your own emotions, you're going to have trouble dealing with your clients because every one of them has emotional issues.
You know, Joan, I tell you, there's something that I think about that I learned from you that I think about every day, which is that you had said. So one of my big ones was this fear of running out of money. It's running out. Right. It's running out. And I remember you said that, you don't run out of money comes from people. So that if you're worried about running out of money, it's running out of people. And that's helped me so much because I really, that shifted so much for me to where I was like, well, I'm not going to run out of people. That's silly. There's 6 billion people in this world. We're not running out anytime soon. And
you just have to make connections to those people.
And you just have to make connections to those people.
To the people who you want to work with. When people say, I want to work with high-end clients.
Right.
Well, very often high-end clients are very self-absorbed and they're high maintenance. And, if you think it's easy to work with high-end clients, you're wrong.
Right.
So what are the qualities you want from people? I've had high-end clients who were totally uncoachable because they knew they had all the answers and they just wanted someone to validate their answers. So, and that's no different from people who aren't high-end clients. So what I have done, and now we're back to the content thing, I have my coaching, but I also have lower cost programs to start people out in so they can easily learn the basics without having to pay me a lot of money.
Well, I really, like I said, I can't recommend highly enough. I mean, like I said, I've been using the things that you've taught for really probably the past 7, maybe even 8 years now. And so I just want to really endorse that you have a unique way. You're not going to learn this anywhere else. I've not seen this. I've not seen anyone else talk about money in the way that you talk about it.
Well, thank you. And that's been a problem for me because in marketing, there's a rule in the mail order business, never innovate, imitate.
Yeah.
Because if you're not doing something that everyone else is doing, no one's looking for what you're doing.
Right.
Okay, so I used to have these dreams of reaching thousands and thousands of people. And I realized I have to understand that I have a niche market. Yeah. It's people who have been on the personal growth and development path for quite a long time. They know that there's something going on that they can't get a hold of, and they contact me. And for my lower cost programs, it doesn't matter what they're making. For the higher end programs, then they have to have a little more success in financial and in business. And they just know there's something else because no matter how hard they try, they're not making what they want to make. I often hear I'm not reaching my income potential, or I got to find out what that one issue is. And that's a small number. Most people want to stick with the numbers and learn about 401ks and all that other stuff. And I used to listen to Susie Orman, and every time she shook her finger, I knew that I should go hide because she was going to shake her finger at me because I'm a risk taker and she wouldn't agree with anything I was doing. And there's so much to learn out there. And it's really bottom line. And this is what I want to get across is it's not about the money. It's about you and your relationship with yourself and the world around you.
Well, I want to make sure, again, I know I mentioned at the top of the show, but if you can tell people again, how can they learn more about you and I know you have tons of resources on your website. Where can people go?
ProsperityPlace.com.
Excellent. Joan Sotkin, it's such a pleasure. I feel like I said, I feel like I've spoken to you a million times, and yet I haven't. So that's kind of the power of content as well, because I've been listening to you for so long. But it's absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure. And I keep seeing your name, so I've felt connected to you all this time.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the power. I mean, that's the power
Yes.
really of content and putting it
Yes.
out there. Thank you so much. Look forward to continuing the conversation.
Me too.
All right. Take care. I want to remind you that if you've not subscribed to the show, go to iTunes, click the subscribe button. It takes a few seconds. You'll get all the episodes that we have helping you to work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. Till next time, this is Doug Foresta at the Coachzing Show.
Thank you for listening to The Coachzing Show. Subscribe to us via iTunes, and please leave us a review. It helps us grow our awesome tribe. This show is brought to you by Coachzing.com's Speak to Publish book system. If your book is stuck in your head, we can help you get it out in just a dozen hours of your time. Go to Coachzing.com for more information. Have you joined the Coach Zingers community yet? You'll get exclusive access to private mastermind calls where you can get instant marketing help from industry experts. Plus, we'll help you forge deals and partnerships with other like-minded professionals. Go to Coachzing.com/community to join now.